All right, so let's talk about the scary word, the religious factor. Ooh, oh man, we're going to bring this into the equation. So here it becomes completely unscientific, right? Well, maybe that's also the case for the other side as well. Well, one of Hume's arguments against miracles is that it's incompatible religious claims, miracles, and thus, on his view, their claims cancel each other. So, you have weeping statues on one side for the Catholics, and you have healings from the Protestants on the other, and neither side believes each other. And so, since neither side believes each other, you can be the secular person that says, "Oh, you're both wrong," and you're good to go. Cancel each other out. Well, although several responses to Hume's arguments from incompatible religious claims are possible, we should note that it is not framed in any neutral manner. Go figure. His argument against testimony, specifically in the religious spheres, is drawn not from empirical studies, but from the polemic of the deist against Christianity. Again, we talked about this, I think, pretty early in broaching Hume, is he seemed to write well, but his writing consisted of a lot of deistic arguments, and so it's not a position he would hold to, but he really liked the work that they did, so he made a copy and pasted before the advent of Control-C and Control-V.
Yeah. Okay. So then he goes on, he says, well, despite the prejudices that persist in contemporary academia, he says today most critics recognize that Hume's generalizations about religious people's reliability reflect his own irrational anti-religious bias, right? But he says at the same time, his disclaimer of miracles that could favor any particular religion over others retains some attraction in our present environment, right? So notice what's going on here is the idea, and he's going to develop this, is people are hesitant with regard to the various miracle claims of different religions because they don't want to be perceived as, giving more religion more weight than the other, because then they wouldn't be neutral with regard to this issue. Of course, he's going to, suggest that's not the case, right? So he goes on to say here that some critics are concerned that, and this is the point I was trying to make here, some apologists might exploit apparently supernatural phenomena to favor one religious system over another, or they might support the value of some religious claims and their frequent function as signs. And so while this concern might be accurate, he tells us, some critics therefore fear that acknowledging such phenomena could appear to compromise, and here's the point I was making, the Academy's neutral or neutrality vis-a-vis various worldviews. So you don't want to criticize one religious claims over another because you want to appear to be neutral in this particular argument. And so you don't want to say, well, these claims are ridiculous. These claims seem more valid. And, therefore, this one we're going to hold to. You don't want to do that because you want to be neutral,
right?
Or at least perceived to be neutral with regard to these various religions.
If there's one commandment you don't want to break, it's to not be viewed as neutral, because that's right. the highest commandment. Oh, right.